In 2005, the world witnessed one of the most high-profile celebrity trials in history. Michael Jackson, known as the King of Pop, was not just a superstar, he was an icon who had defined music and entertainment for decades. His albums had broken records, his performances had mesmerized audiences, and his fame had reached every corner of the world. But in a California courtroom, all of that faded away as he faced the most serious accusations of his life: inappropriate conduct involving a minor. For months, the media and the public followed every twist and turn of the trial, making it one of the most talked about cases of all time. To understand the 2005 trial, we need to look back a little. Michael Jackson was no stranger to controversy. As early as 1993, he had faced allegations involving misconduct with a young boy named Jordan Chandler. That case never went to criminal trial because the family settled a civil lawsuit with Jackson for around $23 million. Jackson always maintained his innocence, saying the settlement was meant to stop the media circus and allow him to focus on his career. But critics argued the settlement created suspicion. This earlier case became a shadow that followed Jackson everywhere, and prosecutors in 2005 tried to use it as evidence of a pattern. By the early 2000s, Jackson's reputation had already been shaken by bizarre tabloid stories, rumors about his lifestyle, and his eccentric behavior. Then came the 2003 documentary Living with Michael Jackson, hosted by journalist Martin Bashir. In the documentary, Jackson openly admitted that he sometimes shared his bed with children. He said it was innocent, an expression of love and trust, but the footage shocked audiences worldwide. In one scene, Jackson sat beside a young cancer survivor named Gavin Arvizo and explained their friendship. That moment raised serious questions, and soon after, Gavin and his family accused Jackson of serious misconduct. Prosecutors in Santa Barbara County charged Jackson with multiple crimes: improper behavior with a minor, providing restricted substances to a minor, and conspiracy to hold the boy and his family against their will. If convicted, Jackson could have faced up to 20 years in prison, effectively the rest of his life. The stakes were enormous. The trial began in January 2005 in the small town of Santa Maria, California. Outside the courthouse, chaos ruled. Fans from all over the world camped outside, some holding signs that read "Justice for Michael," while others demanded protection for children. News crews lined the streets, broadcasting live updates every day. It wasn't just a legal trial, it was a global media event. Inside the courtroom, the prosecution presented Gavin Arvizo as their key witness. Gavin testified that Jackson had given him alcohol, which he called Jesus juice, and had engaged in inappropriate acts at Neverland Ranch. His younger brother also testified, claiming to have witnessed questionable behavior. Prosecutors painted Neverland as a trap, a place designed to lure children with amusement park rides, candy, and luxury, all to take advantage of them. They even brought in former employees who claimed they had seen Jackson behave improperly with other boys. But the prosecution faced serious problems. Gavin's mother, Janet Arvizo, became a controversial witness. The defense argued she was manipulative, had a history of making false claims, and was motivated by money. In cross-examination, attorney Thomas Mesereau attacked her credibility, pointing out contradictions in her story and suggesting she had coached her children. The defense also reminded the jury that the Arvizo family had stayed at Neverland Ranch multiple times, even after the alleged incidents. If they truly believed Michael was dangerous, why would they return? The defense presented Jackson as a generous but misunderstood man, someone who had been taken advantage of by greedy families. They brought in character witnesses who testified to Jackson's kindness and eccentric personality, but insisted they had never seen any abuse. The defense also highlighted that Gavin's story had changed over time, raising doubts about whether it was consistent or reliable. The trial lasted nearly 5 months with testimony from more than 130 witnesses. At times, the atmosphere in court felt surreal. Celebrities like Chris Tucker and Jay Leno were called as witnesses to testify about their interactions with the Arvizo family. Jackson's fans gathered daily outside, releasing doves, singing his songs, and chanting prayers for his acquittal. Jackson himself appeared fragile, often dressed in elaborate suits, sometimes late to court, and clearly under emotional strain. At one point, he even went to court in his pajamas after being hospitalized briefly, an image that flashed across TV screens worldwide. The prosecution's attempt to bring in evidence from the 1993 Jordan Chandler case also played a role. While the judge allowed some references, the defense strongly attacked it as irrelevant and prejudicial. The jury was reminded that Jackson had never been convicted of any prior crime. Mesereau emphasized that prosecutors were relying on weak evidence and questionable witnesses to try to convict a man simply because he was famous. Finally, in June 2005, after months of testimony and intense media coverage, the case went to the jury. For more than a week, the jury deliberated. The world waited anxiously. News anchors speculated endlessly. Fans held vigils outside the courthouse, and Jackson's fate hung in the balance. On June 13, 2005, the verdict was announced. Michael Jackson was found not guilty on all 10 felony counts and 4 lesser charges. The jury completely acquitted him. In the courtroom, Jackson remained quiet but visibly emotional. Outside, his fans erupted in cheers, waving banners and celebrating what they saw as proof of his innocence. The verdict was a dramatic end to one of the most publicized trials in history. But the verdict didn't end the debate. Some people believed Jackson had been the target of opportunistic families and overzealous prosecutors. Others believed the jury had let a guilty man walk free. The trial did not clear Michael's reputation entirely. Instead, it left a permanent mark of suspicion. Even though he had been acquitted, the accusations never fully went away. After the trial, Jackson retreated from public life. He left Neverland Ranch, which had once been his magical kingdom, but was now tainted by scandal. He spent time overseas, rarely giving interviews and avoiding the spotlight. Friends said the trial had deeply affected him, leaving him paranoid and withdrawn. He would live only 4 more years before his sudden death in June 2009, which shocked the world all over again. The Michael Jackson trial of 2005 remains one of the most significant celebrity trials ever held. It combined fame, scandal, media obsession, and serious allegations in a way that had never been seen before. For some, it was the story of a man falsely accused and finally vindicated. For others, it was an example of wealth and celebrity power shielding someone from justice. What cannot be denied is that the trial was a turning point, not just in Jackson's life, but in the way the media and the public view celebrity cases. It forced people to ask difficult questions about fame, trust, and accountability. And even today, 2 decades later, people still debate the case. In the end, Michael Jackson walked free from the courthouse in 2005. But the shadow of those accusations and the circus of that trial followed him for the rest of his life. It was not just the trial of a man, it was the trial of a global icon, and the world watched every second.